Hello everyone, welcome to weavercast. Weavercast is a weekly podcast where we go over some great tips and tricks for RapidWeaver and web design. I am your host, Joe Workman. I am an independent Mac and web developer based in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today is show number 20. It is Monday, February 24th, 2014. And weavercast is never longer than 15 minutes, so let's get started. So today we're going to go over pretty quickly. Really depends on how much I talk. We'll see. But we're going to go over some cool little tips and tricks for some geeky stuff with web design. The htaccess file, and then we're going to quickly touch on the robots.txt file. That's a really quick one just for controlling what search engines see and whatnot. But what is an htaccess file? Now, it only works if your web server is running Apache, and that is probably going to be most users that are running RapidWeaver websites and whatnot, because most hosts run Apache on a Linux. It is by far probably the most implemented web server technology out there is Apache. So htaccess is a configuration file for Apache for your website. And you can do all kinds of things. And I'm going to quickly just kind of spurt out. I think I have like 15 different tips for you today. I'm going to quickly show you the blurb that you're going to put into the htaccess file and what it does and how you can tweak it and all that jazz. Now, traditionally, htaccess files, it's just a plain text file. The name of it is .htaccess. Okay, so you name the file that, and you transfer it to the root of your website. So it will be in the root folder of your website. It needs to be there. Now, there are newer versions of Apache, which probably most of you are running newer versions, the latest versions that support this, what I'm going to talk about, is you can actually tier htaccess files. So what that means is at the root of your web server, you can have htaccess, and that is like your global configuration file, right? For your entire site. Then you can actually define htaccess files in various folders throughout your website. And basically the settings that you have in those sub htaccess files will take effect for the folder and below that you have it in, right? So if you want some specific settings for parts of your website, you can do that. Most of the time, even for me, I don't do that. I have a centralized file that I manage for my website at the root of my website, and that pretty much does everything that I need it to. But if you need that ability to basically have different configurations for different parts of your website, totally possible. Just take that same htaccess file and throw it in a different subfolder. So that's basically it. Let's jump in and get geeky. Now, I should note that every snippet that we're going to be seeing today is available inside the RapidWeaver Snippets open source project. This is a project that I created that is available to everybody for free. So if you are interested in the RapidWeaver Snippet share, go ahead and check out my GitHub account, and there's full instructions on how you can download and access this great share of snippets. Okay, so tip number 1 is doing a simple redirect. So here's a perfect example. I have a Mac app currently called Climate. It wasn't always named Climate. Its original name was My Nest. And if users now go to /mac/mynest, which used to be an existing URL on my website, they will get redirected in this instance to joeworkman.net /mac/climate. As you see, this is really simple to do. You simply start your line with redirect space 301, because we're saying that we want to do a 301 redirect. Now, there are different redirects, and look those up if you need to, but a 301 redirect is mostly what you're going to be doing. That tells the search engines that this is a permanent redirect. This web page has permanently moved from location A, which we defined here as /mac/mynest. So it's moved from location A to location B, which is joeworkman.net /mac/climate. Now, there's one thing I probably should have noted before, is comments in htaccess. If you ever start a line with a hash sign or a pound sign. This is where you can actually define and add comments to your htaccess files. Okay, so tip number 2 here, really simple. It is defining custom 404 pages or custom error pages. So most of the time, if a user goes to a URL on your site and that URL doesn't exist, you get a page not found error. So it's really simple to do that. As we see a few sample configurations here, it's just saying error document space, the error code that you want to capture. So in our case, we want a 404. And then you're going to define the path to the actual file that is going to get redirected to the user. So inside your RapidWeaver projects or whatever tool you're using, you're going to create, I have a /errors/404 in my configuration. So I have in RapidWeaver, I created a page where the folder is set to /errors/404. The page name is set to index.html. And then you can design the page to be whatever you want. Okay, and then inside your htaccess file, that way whenever anyone visits an error page or a page that doesn't exist, they will get redirected to your 404 page. Pretty cool. Okay, so this next tip is all about speed. And what this configuration here does is it checks if your Apache server supports a couple modules that are installed. And if said modules are installed, it will basically, before the contents of particular files are sent to the web browser, they will be compressed. So really what's going on here is we are improving the transfer speed from the web server to the web browser. Now here's another tip for compression. This is very similar. Maybe your web server supports mod gzip, which is another, again, this configuration here, tests for that first. Now normally you're not going to use this tip and the one I just went over. You're going to use one or the other. So check if your web server supports mod gzip, then you can use this one. And this essentially does the same thing, where it's compressing CSS, HTML, JavaScript files before they actually get sent down to the web browser. Now this next tip is really simple. This essentially disables directory access. So, sometimes you go to a website directory, a web URL, and you don't have the page name in there. And sometimes if you just have the directory, you can actually see a list of files inside the web browser. This will disable that functionality. This will allow that not to happen. So if you don't have an index.html or an index.php file in a particular directory, this will not allow the user to view the contents of that directory. Okay, so this next tip here is around security of files. What files can be viewed in the browser or not viewed in the browser. A perfect example is you never ever want your htaccess file to be seen inside the web browser, right? This is a very secret file. We don't want, hackers or anyone to see exactly what the configurations of our web server are to potentially exploit any holes, right? So this first one here, we're saying files htaccess. So we're explicitly naming a particular file. And then we're saying, order is allowed deny, and we're going to deny for all. We want zero access to this htaccess file on the web browser. Now you can do this with any file. Let's say there's a secret file.jpg where you don't want that to be viewable in the browser at all for some unknown reason. You can definitely prevent people from seeing that file. And lastly, we can do file match. So you can basically say anything that has .htaccess, the htpassword, ini files, PSD files. So a lot of these, .log files, if you don't want any of those to be seen within the web browser, you basically deny for all of those. Well, everyone, that wraps up today's show. I hope you learned some tips and tricks. We hope I didn't get too confusing for you. Again, all of these are available on the open source snippet share, so make sure you check that out. It's a great resource for everybody, and please contribute. The more that people contribute to the share, the better it can be for everybody, right? So it's pretty cool. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and send us an email or hit me up on the various internets. I am at Joe Workman at Twitter and app.net. Send us an email at support@joeworkman.net, and go check out my products. They make these cool podcasts free and available for you. So joeworkman.net/RapidWeaver is all my great RapidWeaver add-ons. joeworkman.net/Mac is some of my awesome Mac apps. And check out my book, rapidweaverbook.com. So thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.